Pros, save more on the materials you need to get the job done, inside and out, at Lowe's. Right now, get 10% off in-stock Trex Naturals decking, now available in more styles. Plus, get 15% off select custom entry, interior, and storm doors. Then, we'll deliver it all straight to your job site to help keep your jobs moving. Get the brands pros trust, priced right, and ready when you need them. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 5/27. While supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Joining me from the Midlands of England here on rugbyleague.com is former first grader back in Australia and also over here in Europe, and Australian schoolboys representative Troy Perkins. Tell the listeners what you're up to now.
Yeah, mate, Rugby Discounts is what it's called. It specialising in all the latest NRL kit from Australia, whether it's jerseys, training T-shirts, training vests, training shorts, hoodies, most clubs are available. You can get me on www.rugbydiscounts.net. I've also got a Facebook page, Rugby Discounts, so very active on that, and Instagram as well. So best prices and the great quality NRL gear that is very difficult to get in the UK.
Good morning, League fans. It is the 14th of May, Thursday, and my name's Steve Mascord, and in the NRL, it is Magic Round. It all starts in the hour after this program when the second Women's State of Origin kicks off at Suncorp Stadium, and then a full round of NRL matches at the same venue. It's also a full weekend of Super League. We've got 1895 Cup. So lots of rugby league going on. Now, this program is going to be languid. That is the term I'll use, languid, relaxed. You won't even hear me between every single song. But we're going to have a chat to the captain of the London Broncos, Regan Campbell-Gillard, during the program. And also we'll just maybe bring you the teams and sort of a bit of a preview content for the Women's State of Origin. So before we move on, let me wish a few people happy birthday. Sam Panapa, who was a hero of a lot of Wigan fans particularly, also played Salford and Sheffield, played for Samoa and New Zealand, and he is 64 today. One of my favourite, hero of mine, Alan McIndoe, the great winger from the Steelers. He is 62 today. Happy from Emerald in Queensland. So happy birthday to Alan McIndoe. It was great to actually go to Emerald a couple of years ago on a road trip. Loved it. Damien Gibson, who played for Leeds most notably and North Queensland notably, but also Halifax, Salford, Castleford, York and Sheffield. 51 today. Damien Gibson is only a baby. Who else have we got? Sam Parrott. Great player for the Kiwis, and he played in that All Golds game as well. Roosters and Canterbury, 41 today. And that might just about, that'll do for this morning. Now today at Tooth-30, that is the time I'm getting a tooth out. So I don't know how well I'll be able to talk tomorrow, or whether I'll be able to do this show tomorrow. But anyway, we're here today. Make the most of today. That's what I say. So, okay, coming up in the program, it is Regan Campbell-Gillard. Okay, 45 minutes after this show ends, the second State of Origin, the Women's State of Origin, will kick off at Suncorp Stadium. It's 19 degrees there, a little bit of cloud, no chance of rain, perfect conditions, and everyone's getting ready for a big Magic weekend. Let's go through the teams. From fullback for the Maroons, it is Tamika Upton, captain, Julia Robinson, Rory Owen, Ivana Lolesio, Jasmine Peters, Shante Akiraratu, Lauren Brown, the forwards, Tessa Poulet, Jada Ferguson, Jessica Ellison, Sienna Lofipo, Romy Teitzel, Keely Joseph, and the bench is Destiny Brill, Mackenzie Wheel, Brianna Clark, and Shanae Sioskoka. Now for the Blues, Sky Blues as the women's team are called, from fullback Abby Church, Jamie Chapman, Jessica Surgis, Isabel Kennedy, captain, Jamie Forezard, Joycelyn Kelleher, Jessie Southall, forwards Millie Elliott, Keely Nizza, Ellie Johnston, Kezzy Apps, Yasmin Meeks, Olivia Koenig, and the bench is Olivia Higgins, Kennedy Sherrington, Rima Butler, and Tegan Berry. And our referee is Belinda Sharp. Video referee is Ashley Klein.
Regan, it's been a tough week injury-wise in the club.
Yeah, it's one of those things is that you sort of have to deal with as a club. But we have depth and players ready to fill that spot. So again, it's going to test us as a team and as a squad, and obviously some boys having to fill in a role there. So long-term injuries, but again, we're getting some boys back as well with injuries in the next week or so as well. So it's just another day in the rugby league, and we'll be fine.
Is it harder when everyone's not everyone, but most of everyone's so far from home? So I guess you don't have the sort of support network when you're recovering from long-term injuries.
Yeah, I guess with the PNG boys as well. Thankfully they know each other very well, and they all live together. So a few setbacks for them, but again, the way that they're going to come back is bigger and better and stronger. So it's not ideal, and it can be a very lonely place being injured, and especially with Rob and Alex having sort of coming back from an injury to then do another injury again. So they're a little bit rattled there on sort of that sense, but again, we rehab it well, and we'll hopefully get them in the back end of the year.
And what's I guess we're halfway through almost. What sort of surprised you so far this year? Is there anything surprised you? I mean, I guess there's all these gaps in the season where you don't have a game one week and stuff like that. Playing Doncaster 3 times in a month or something. So what do you make of all that?
Oh, there's a lot of things. I think playing on 3G or the 4G, something new. We played that on the weekend, so. I can name a few. Travel on game day, 4 or 5 hours on a bus. But again, it's just we got to deal with it, and something that I'm not sort of used to. Being the sort of first trip against Donny, so long season. RFL just putting in teams to make up fixtures, and teams dropping out, so you get an extra week off here and there, and obviously another comp within the comp with the 1895, obviously after a Challenge Cup knockout. So it's a lot of games, but again, look, we just got to deal with it, and that's just the part of the experience, I guess, that we're over here.
Experience with the PNG boys, and I guess for them it's like the adventure of a lifetime. What's it been as an experience for you to play with those guys and see them sort of, I guess, flourish as footballers?
Obviously watching them develop is a they don't train as well, but come game day they flick a switch, and it's something that you can obviously witness it when you're seeing it and playing it. So during the week they're not so crash hot, and that's just what they are, and how they prepare themselves. And come game day they flick a switch, and it's 100 miles an hour, and listening to their language and talking, and watching them develop as players as well. So they're getting there, and once the I guess the PNG Chiefs team is up and running, or what is up and running, and I'm sure they'll be pretty proud to try and go back there and play for that team as well. So
do they talk about Chiefs much?
Not really.
They wouldn't tell you, I guess.
No, they're over here obviously experiencing a different world, and sightseeing, and putting up things on Instagram that's a bit strange. So, but no, look, they're a great bunch of boys. They're funny, very funny, and they love rugby league, and obviously being the national sport in PNG, so they love rugby league, and obviously sightseeing is a bonus for them as well.
That household, I don't know how many working knees there is in that household. There's been five knee injuries or something. But
yeah, we've got two working at the moment. That's Maria and Gyro. So hopefully get Finley back in the next week or so as well. So he's tracking along very nicely, and those the boys that are out for a long term. They're just they'll be out for a while. So hopefully get them in the back end of the year.
How would you sum up the season? You're undefeated. You're happy. I guess one thing that's come up in the last couple of weeks is the club would like to know what's happening next year. So all that's happening in the background, isn't it? I guess there's a bit of uncertainty there.
Yeah, no. Obviously, you want to keep improving as a team and as a club, and we're still building very nicely and trying to prepare for the best outcome for next year. But again, we're still waiting. But all we can do is sort of control what we can control this week and for the rest of the year, and then whatever happens at the end. So I think undefeated currently at the moment. So it's all.
The injuries that he mentioned, that were mentioned in those interviews, by the way, Alex Max and Robert Matthias, the two PNG centres, both out with knee injuries for 10 weeks. And Robert Matthias, coach Jason Demetriou believes, was the victim of a hip drop against Doncaster, and they are playing Doncaster again this weekend. So he said that publicly, so it could put a bit of extra feeling in the match. Wow, the Regan Campbell-Gillard interview didn't even get us halfway through the hour. But it was great to go out there. We did the interview at Hazelwood, which is, my geography in London's not great, but it took me an hour and a half to get there in London traffic and only 45 minutes to get back. And the club just announced yesterday, confirming that it was going to be a permanent base for them, or semi-permanent, and that it'd be a home ground for the reserves and the women's team. And it's a great facility. There's a clubhouse there. But I know that the club's been there all year. I went there pre-season and did some media work. So I know that they've been in there for a while, but maybe they've just sealed the deal. But also it could have to do with some other news that Gary Heverington shared with me yesterday, is that the transfer of ownership from him, 90% share of ownership that he is selling to Grant Weshel and Darren Lockyer, only went through legally yesterday. So that's why maybe they now feel in a position to announce that maybe the deal was between Grant's company and London Irish, who the principal tenants at Hazelwood. And so it wasn't the club's move until they had ownership of the club. Perhaps that's the reason. But the injuries that he mentioned, that were mentioned in those interviews, by the way, Alex Max and Robert Matthias, the two PNG centres, both out with knee injuries for 10 weeks. And Robert Matthias, coach Jason Demetriou believes, was the victim of a hip drop against Doncaster, and they are playing Doncaster again this weekend. So he said that publicly, so it could put a bit of extra feeling in the match. And while we're talking Broncos, Brisbane property developer Andrew Gray, who's only 39 years old, he has bought into the club as well. And Gary Hetherington says that he has bought into Grant and Darren's side of the club. He hasn't bought any of Gary's shares, and it's a matter for Grant and Darren to on-sell part of their percentage, which is now, as of yesterday, 90% of the club. So, yeah, I guess the rest of the hour we'll have a chat about what's been happening in rugby league, and we'll also continue to preview the Women's State of Origin, which is kicking off at 10:45 UK time, which is 45 minutes after this show ends. Okay, time to give you our broadcast games this weekend on rugbyleague.com, where too much league is not enough. And tomorrow night from the Shay, Mick Gledhill will bring you all the action of Halifax up against Sheffield. And then on Saturday, May 16, it's Toulouse and Warrington, and your commentator will be Jason Costigan. And then Sunday, finally, Bradford at home to Hull, and that has Mick Gledhill written all over it. That means I'll have the afternoon off. I'm going to the 1895 Cup game between London and Doncaster. So I'll just sit back with a beer in hand and watch that and let Mick do all the work. So they are your broadcast matches this weekend. Now, this might be a good opportunity to tell you what's coming up on rugbyleague.com, where too much league isn't enough. After game day at 1 p.m. UK time this afternoon, we will be bringing you the great Super League 360 with Lee Addison and also John Davidson, and they will be running a rule over all of the big pressing issues in the Northern Hemisphere game. They do a great job. Congratulations to the boys on that show. And then at 3 o'clock, when I'm in the chair having a tooth pulled, it'll be Richard Shaw-Wright and Phil Kaplan with 40-20 Live. 40-20 Live. And that's an old favourite of this station. If you've been listening to the station since we started a couple of years ago, you'll be very familiar with that program. And then at 6 p.m, before tonight's Super League match, it's the Captain's Run with David Kane. So that's a full in-depth preview powered by statistics of the entire Super League round. That's at 6 p.m. tonight. Overnight, after the Super League game tonight, you can hear from Martin Sadler, and it's the League Express Show. League Express Show, 10 o'clock UK time tonight. And then for those people in the Southern Hemisphere or with who have insomnia, 1 a.m, which is 10 a.m. in Sydney and Brisbane, it's Fire Up, the number one parody rugby league show in the entire world, followed by Tony Collins, Rugby Reloaded, and the hilarious Only in Rugby League podcast, which is kind of like a Northern Hemisphere equivalent of Fire Up, a little bit different. I won't continue beyond that, which is, what's that? That takes us up to 7 a.m. Friday morning UK time. I don't think you want to hear any more. We're only an hour away from kickoff in the second Women's State of Origin at the Suncorp Stadium. Let's go through the men's NRL games that are coming up at the same venue this weekend. The Friday games, Sharks and Bulldogs, Cronulla and Canterbury. That's the first match at 6 p.m. In local time, followed by South Sydney and the Dolphins. And Josiah Alchin will be giving us score updates from that game on game day. Thanks, Josiah. And then on Saturday, it's West Tigers and Manly, Sydney Roosters and North Queensland, and Parramatta up against Melbourne. And then the whole weekend wraps up on Sunday with Gold Coast taking on Newcastle and the Warriors meeting the Broncos. And finally, in the sort of twilight game, I guess, it is Penrith and St George Illawarra. Magic round in the NRL. It is this weekend. After a break last weekend for the Challenge Cup semi-finals, and congratulations to Hull KR and Wigan, who are off to Wembley. Super League resumes this weekend, and it starts tonight with Huddersfield at home to St Helens. And then we've got the unfortunate spectacle of two clashing games on Friday, which is not new. It's Wigan and Leeds, and at the same time over at the DIY Kitchen Stadium, Whitfield Trinity entertain Catalans. And then on Saturday, we've got a 3 o'clock game, York and Castleford at 5:30. It is Lee at home to Challenge Cup finalist Hull KR, and at 6 o'clock in France, 5 o'clock in the UK. So again, another clash. It is another scheduling clash, but this is our broadcast game. Toulouse up against Warrington. And just the one Sunday match, and once more, this is one of our games, and we'll be broadcasting it with Mick Gledhill. It's Bradford at home to Hull FC. So that is Super League this weekend, and after that, I'll bring you some what's happening in some of the other competitions. Just the one championship game this weekend, ladies and gentlemen, and it will be on rugbyleague.com, and that is Friday night. It's Halifax at home to Sheffield. It's a 7:30 kickoff, and Mick Gledhill will be bringing that to you. Now, in the 1895 Cup, we also have a Friday night game. It's at Boundary Park, and it's at 7:45 p.m. Oldham versus Midlands at Boundary Park. Then on Sunday, we've got three 1895 Cup matches. It's Rochdale at home to Goole, and Widnes at home to Newcastle, and London, which I'll be at, London at home to Doncaster. And the first two games I mentioned are a 3 p.m. kickoff. And maybe because the London game is a 3:30 kickoff, I'll be able to take over from Mick and call the last half hour of that game. And that's a good idea, actually. So you will hear from me on Sunday, and I'll have to hold off having my first beer until I'm finished. So that's it. Now, if you are listening on the radio, then this show is available on demand by searching WLF Kicks on your favourite podcast platform, WLF Kicks. And if you are listening on the podcast, this show goes out live on Thursday mornings and Friday mornings, 9 a.m. at rugbyleague.com. So make sure you tune in, support 24-hour Rugby League radio. That's it. Enjoy your weekend of Rugby League. The Women's State of Origin is coming up.
Joining me from the Midlands of England here on rugbyleague.com is former first grader back in Australia and also over here in Europe, and Australian schoolboys representative Troy Perkins. Tell the listeners what you're up to now.
Yeah, mate, Rugby Discounts is what it's called. It specialising in all the latest NRL kit from Australia, whether it's jerseys, training T-shirts, training vests, training shorts, hoodies, most clubs are available. You can get me on www.rugbydiscounts.net. I've also got a Facebook page, Rugby Discounts, so very active on that, and Instagram as well. So best prices and the great quality NRL gear that it's very difficult to get in the UK.
Warning, the following ZipRecruiter radio spot you are about to hear is going to be filled with F words.
When you're hiring, we at ZipRecruiter know you can feel frustrated, forlorn even, like your efforts are futile, and you can spend a fortune trying to find fabulous people, only to get flooded with candidates who are just fine. Fortunately, ZipRecruiter figured out how to fix all that. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/zip. With ZipRecruiter, you can forget your frustrations because we find the right people for your roles fast, which is our absolute favorite F word. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day.
Fantastic.
So, whether you need to hire 4, 40, or 400 people, get ready to meet first-rate talent. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/zip to try ZipRecruiter for free. Don't forget, that's ZipRecruiter.com/zip. Finally, that's ZipRecruiter.com/zip.